Hey Nick, Dennis here, aka West Coast. I saw your video on sea asparagus and you mentioned that it tasted kind of like asparagus. And well, I stumbled upon a plant here that I've known is edible for a while, but I didn't know you could eat the berries as well and the young shoots of it. So the young shoots of the Greenbrier plant actually taste like asparagus. And you can eat almost all parts of this plant. Here I have a nice vine that you can see. It's got a lot of defining characteristics that make it easy to identify and not a whole lot of toxic lookalikes. So I'm gonna go ahead and harvest some of it. It's actually fruiting right now, which is crazy to see here. It's almost December here in Georgia, and I just recently found out that you can eat the berries. So I'm gonna go ahead and harvest some, put it in my bag, and get to an area where it's not as windy so we can talk about it more. So I went ahead and collected some of the berries, and I got a rather large piece of the vine so we can take a closer look at it. I still need to wash these off though, because this is a public park and there could potentially be pesticides on this. So rather play it safe than sorry. So I went ahead and I rinsed off these berries and one of the leaves because I plan on trying them later in the video. I actually have already tried the berries myself. I kind of guinea pigged my way through it just to see what that was like. I like to, whenever I'm foraging a new plant or trying something new for the first time, I like to just eat a handful, not even a handful, 1 to 2 berries and maybe a small part of the leaf and wait, at least a day to see if I have any kind of allergic reactions to it. Because you never know, because even if something is edible, your body may react to it differently than other people do. So this is Greenbrier. It belongs to the genus Smilax. I'm not sure which species this is, but they have a few identifying characteristics that make it easy to know that a plant is in the Greenbrier family and to not accidentally end up eating a toxic lookalike. So the leaves are heart-shaped, kind of heart-shaped, more so ovate, and they've got this mid-vein. This mid-vein and some of the major veins to the side of it run, they protrude, they're depressed on the top of the leaf, but if you flip it over, they're protruding significantly. The leaves kind of have this glossy feel to them, and they're relatively hairless. There might be a little bit of hairs on the underside that you can feel, but not really. And something interesting to note is all of the veins start at the tip of the stem and they converge on the other side of the leaf. The midvein runs in a straight line, and the other prominent veins are parallel to each other. So, yeah, very interesting. So when Greenbrier is flowering, which is typically in the early summer, the male and females are on different plants. They have very, very small and yellow, kind of yellow-green flowers with 6 tepals arranged in 2 layers, and the male flowers have 6 stamens. When it actually fruits, the berries grow in clusters of 3 to 12, and they start off green, but they ripen to this dark blue, dark black kind of color, and they look kind of like blueberries. Strangely enough, they actually taste kind of like blueberries too. They have this, they have 3 to 4 large seeds in them, and you do spit those out, but you can eat the other parts of it, and it's kind of like a less sweeter blueberry, but it's still very, very good. Very good foraging food, very good survival food, if you ever find yourself in that kind of situation, but it's worth trying. It's very good. And you can eat the leaves as well. I have tried it before. The leaves aren't as good as the berries. I've yet to try the shoots, but I'm looking forward to that come next spring. The leaves, they taste kind of like, it's hard to describe the taste. It's kind of like a milder dock, if anyone has ever tried dock before. It's not as sour, it's a food. Oh, hey, look at that. That's a ground cherry growing out by itself in the middle of nowhere. It's even got its own little berry. Wow. Awesome stuff. Anyway, yeah, that's Greenbrier in a nutshell. I'm gonna do an actual video on this on another channel that I plan on making called Denislav's Foraging, and I really want to be able to go more in depth and kind of take a look at the main thing that matters to me when helping people identify plants, and that's getting familiar with all the toxic lookalikes. Fortunately, Greenbrier has some very, very interesting characteristics. Oh, one thing I did believe I forgot to mention is that the tendrils, this is one of the few woody vines in the area that has both the tendrils and these long, or rather short spikes, kind of long needle-esque things growing on the same vine. So that's another great way of telling if you found a Greenbrier plant. So I'm going to try now the berries and let you know what they taste like. It'll probably help to wash out that bitter residual taste in my mouth. But here we go. Excuse me while I spit out the seeds, because I don't believe that you can eat those, but correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, it tastes like a blueberry to me. You know, it's got a different texture, but the flavor is very, very similar. And I wouldn't necessarily say that it's not as sweet. The sweetness is still there, but if you buy some really good blueberries, you know that when you're eating them, inside that mix, you're not always going to have like super sweet berries. Some of them are a little sour, you know, they got them unripe. But if you pick some Greenbrier berries, like I could see myself eating that as a survival food. Excuse me, if it came down to it. But yeah, at this point in the video, I just wanted to take some time to talk about a different topic, and that's something that we already kind of touched up on. That I know we spoke over the phone about this, but you asked me, how can you improve your social battery, since I've been telling you that I have an infinite social battery. I have to say it's not true. It's not quite infinite, but it feels pretty close. I recently retook the Myers-Briggs personality test, and I found that I am an extrovert now, which is wild. I've never been an extrovert at any point in my life, but that's just a testament to how people grow and change. And I would say a big part of that has been practicing socializing, more specifically practicing small talk. Like, if you can get good at small talk just by doing it over and over and over again, that'll kind of allow you to segue the conversation into more interesting things or deeper topics or whatever it is you want to talk about. Excuse me. Now, I will say that I still see myself being an ambivert, which is being able to swap between or switching between introvert and extrovert. But at this point in my life, I would say that I'm extroverted, and I enjoy it very much. It's a nice change of pace to be able to gain energy from my social interactions, you know? Oh, there's some mullein. At this point in the video, I realized that is all that I wanted to talk about. And I also wanted to say thank you for including your video on sea asparagus once again, because it opened me up to a new form of content, which is just kind of like off the dome, rather, not following a script of any sort. And I really like it, you know. I think it's practice will make perfect. You know, I'm worrying about a lot of things. How am I holding the camera? Is the wind gonna show up in the sound? Did I say everything I wanted to say? Did I missay anything? Did I misspeak in any regard? But I appreciate I appreciate your video. So now that I get to practice this, you know, and in due time, I'm sure that it'll be like riding a bike, you know. So thank you once again, Nick, and I hope to hear from you in the next video.